Welcome to episode 32, AirBNB, Part 2, 10 Lessons. This is an outline of episode 32. Lesson number 1, creativity and design can solve real-life problems.
And all the hotels were sold out. And at RISD, it's Rhode School of Design, it's an art school, they really teach you that creativity can solve problems. If you're creative and you identify an everyday problem that you deal with, you can actually solve that.
What I love about the founding of Airbnb is that it's a classic design story. You're faced with a problem, some insurmountable challenge, and you've got your back against the wall, the clock is ticking, and you've got to somehow pull some kind of creative move out of thin air to save the day at the last minute. And that's exactly what happened with Airbnb. But it's exactly what we learned in design school, if you think about it.
Lesson number 2, there are advantages in starting a company in the middle of a recession.
And at the same time, the whole financial crisis happens, right? And the markets collapse, and Sequoia sends out this presentation saying, like, no one's going to be able to raise money again, and it's time to start saving your money, etc. It was already hard enough to get investors to give us money, and now this.
Lesson number 3, do things don't scale.
You realize something, that the photography, the images of their listings are actually not very good. So we kind of have this realization, we can solve that problem. We know how to take a good photo, but it's not scalable. That's the thing, is that up until this point, we had tried to solve problems in a scalable way, which I think I would call like some of the mythology of Silicon Valley, is that you have to solve problems in a scalable way. That one line of code has to meet the needs of hundreds, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands, or maybe millions of people. So Paul Graham comes along and basically gives us this message, which was the single greatest piece of advice we ever got. Go meet your people. Do things that don't scale. It'll teach you. You'll learn from it.
Lesson number 4, find good, hard-working partners with complementary skills.
Route Street is also where we ran the company out of for a couple of years. And living with Joe, I noticed a couple things about him. First, we were both up late into the night working on our projects. We'd work a long day at work, and then we'd stay up even later working on different side projects, and even on the weekend. And it's rare that you find people with that kind of work ethic. That's something really special. The worst thing is to have a partner that doesn't work as hard as you. So I noticed that about Joe. I also noticed that Joe could do a lot of things I couldn't do. He was a designer, and he was making beautiful physical products. He had just an immense mind for creativity. And we started helping each other out. And we're like, wow, we got really complementary skills.
Lesson number 5, go visit your customers. Help them one by one.
It's our very first office hours. So where's your market? And we kind of look at each other and we're like thinking to ourselves, we don't really have a market. No one's using our service. And Paul goes, so your customers are in New York City and you're here in Mountain View. Go to New York City.
Lesson number 6, photos matter. Bad photos can kill your business.
And we noticed something about our hosts. We noticed that they had really bad photos of their properties. This was, again, in 2008, 2009, and camera phones weren't as good as they are today. So a lot of the photos were low resolution, really dark. And so we would call the hosts up and we'd say, would you like a professional photographer to come to your home and photograph your apartment for free?
Lesson number 7, be good at organizing people and getting projects done.
What was special about Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia from Airbnb was not that they were experts in technology. They went to art school. They were experts in design, and perhaps even more importantly, they were really good at organizing people and getting projects done.
Lesson number 8, be cockroaches. Be impossible to kill.
We said later, I thought you guys were cockroaches, right? And he's got this saying, the hardest thing is you need people who will never give up, right? You've got to persevere. There's going to be so many setbacks.
Lesson number 9, don't be afraid of competitors. Be afraid of losing your own culture and startup spirit.
What are you worried about? I'm sorry to be a bummer.
Yeah, I think I worry about, Paul Graham, he was our first investor, and I used to worry about all these random things, like competitors, kind of cities, all this stuff. And he said something to me I'll never forget. He said, Brian, startups die of suicide, not homicide. All great companies that had a downfall, they died of self-inflicted wounds. So what are those self-inflicted wounds?
That's a horrible thing to say.
I know.
But anyway.
But it's really, the key thing is about like, there's this thing that like, you're a small company, and you exist because no one else, especially big companies, couldn't do what you could do as a small, nimble company. Small companies become big companies and sometimes become really bureaucratic. And the culture gets lost, people leave the company. That is something, it's not unique to Airbnb, but that's the thing that we have to worry about, and I'm deeply paranoid about that. I want to make sure that we're always a startup, maybe the world's biggest startup.
Lesson number 10, build a forever company.
So IPO, is that what your goal is?
Definitely not our goal. No, our goal is to obviously achieve our mission, but you know, we are going to stay independent.
Why is that?
Because the companies that I admire, they are independent companies, and their primary mission is their own mission, not them to think long term. We've always wanted to build a company that can outlive ourselves.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your comments and questions below. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.